Right, let's get more reaction then to the passing of Bob Mabena. We're joined by media personality Penny Lebyane, a veteran in her own right. Penny, tell me about your memories. Firstly, just tell me about how you received the news of the passing of Bob Mabena, a former colleague, but I imagine someone that you were very close to, and almost a brother in a way.
Most definitely. I don't even qualify to be called a veteran in the same sentence as Bob Mabena. I'm just an established little broadcaster. He's a big brother. He's a giant. He's someone I grew up watching, learning from as a teenager, and then I got to meet, in my late teens. I consumed media as early as 12 years old, if not earlier, or Thobela FM and all of that when I was growing up in Bushbuckridge. But when I came to live in the city, I listened to Radio Bob. That's when I first encountered him, and then Radio Metro, and then eventually him being on Studio Mix, and the rest is history. So a big brother to me, because I approached Zandile Nzalo, his first wife, to mentor me when I was 17, 18, when I was at Voice of Soweto, which was a community radio station. And before I came to the SABC, so I was already had a relationship with her because she was working at Channel O, at Mnet, when Channel O was starting out. Then I got to meet Bob, the husband, the father, the family man, because I used to go to their house. They would invite me every now and again if they had a braai. They loved to braai. And that's how I get to first meet him before working with him. And I only got to work with him, when Studio Mix, when I was starting out, because I used to I auditioned, and then I was part of like the gig guide and things like that. And then eventually he was, part of the programming team at Metro FM, more as my boss, alongside with the likes of Matona Nchona and Desmond Kloko and Leo Mane. But I knew him at work as much as I knew him at home. So so he was a brother from that point of view, but a brother as well in the industry, because he was encouraging. He was direct. He was firm. He used to scold me about my stance on dealing with media, because I was a girl who was friends with journalists, in newspapers, and I felt like if something was written about me, I'm going to take them on. I'm going to write to the editor. And he used to say, you just have to let them go and let them be. It's one of those things. But at the same time, he encouraged me to use my voice. He encouraged me to be, someone who's of good, who's dedicated to using the platforms that I have access to, to speak to. He used that saying, evil prevails when good people do nothing. And in this instance, it was because of the xenophobic situation that happened. I think it was back in 2008, 2009. I remember I had just had a baby, and my children are of Zimbabwean descent. And he was saying to me, you have to go and find out what the women there are dealing with. We're going to all have campaigns and we all have a write-up, but none of us go there. And then you can go there. You have a way of going in and having a conversation. And I went to Germiston, to the center where the women were. And then I met them and I got to understand. And I came back on air with a different perspective. And I'll never forget that.
So it seems, Penny, from what you just shared with us and what I've heard other people talking about, he had this ability to lead, at times not leading from the front, but leading from the back by prodding you in the right direction. The story you share about the issue around xenophobia links up with other stories that other people have spoken about. Who can forget, of course, the pictures that were taken of him when he was taking a stand up against a company that he believed was abusing the South African national flag?
Yeah. Firstly, patriotism is what I took from him. The ability to love our people, to embrace the different cultures that we have. I come from Bushbuckridge, which is currently in Mpumalanga, but part of the old, Leboa. He had a special name for me because he has a connection with the Pedi people as much as he has a connection with the Tonga people. He calls me Napyadi. Which is a strong name in that culture, and language plays a big part, in our broadcast. And I'm not just saying language in terms of like English, but our dialects. But at the same time, even when we speak in English, our ability to come to our people. The thing that Nelson Mandela speaks about, that when you speak to a man in a language that they understand, it goes to his head. But when you speak to a man in his own language, it goes to his heart. He had the essence of that. Being a young person who young people today say you're cool. He was cool, but he had culture. He had context, he had sense. You knew that he was from Pretoria, because he carried that swag of what that place was about. You knew that he had a bit of, cultural background of the Bedi people and the Tonga people, because he carried that. You knew that he loved hip hop. You know what I mean? You knew that he loved house, and he was dedicated to teaching about those experiences and making you understand that broadcasting is about disseminating information, about inspiring a nation, and taking a stand when it matters.
What a life. Penny, thank you so much for sharing your memories and your reflections on the life of Bob Mabena. The gems no more, and we are all poorer for it as a nation. That's Penny Lebyane there speaking to us about the late Bob Mabena.